Welcome back to the Interact Post. Today, Article 8 will include us going over and discussing leaks related to Genshin. Like every other Interact post, we do want to say that all the info we have found you can find yourself. We are not beta testers and have no inside information. We will be using various sources that everyone does have access to. Now with all that out of the way, on to the video. So the first leak we are going to be looking at this week, we have had a little bit more time considering the past times of not having actual Interact posts last week, but today we are bringing across actually a possible new character and probably a 4-star. I know a lot of people have been talking about him as the Lion Boy. So what do you kind of see him kind of being thrown in with this speculation rift?
I'm very excited about this character. We have seen a lot of art in the past. Maybe you guys are also looking at other speculations on some social platforms, and we've kind of been seeing like this more white-haired kind of character. And actually, what we're kind of looking at now is this more brunette hair color on this guy. And I don't know about you. I really like the design, and I like where this is going. So I'm really excited. I know I had been dubbed the 4-star king or whatever. You see, guys, I like to just pull basically any and every 4-star once they come around. I love to have those characters. So I'm very excited personally about this and what his kit's gonna look like. I think for his vision, are we thinking he's gonna be Pyro?
Yeah, actually, it seems like he might be a Pyro, and I know some people were talking about a polearm, but honestly, the vibes he's kind of giving off is very similar to Hazo, so I'm really thinking actually about a Catalyst user.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool, especially with that like lion kind of feel.
Exactly.
Being very up close and personal and kind of just mauling him in the face. Kind of reminds me of Dia a little bit, although she's more of a Claymore user. But that kind of vibe, when she goes in her burst, she's not using the Claymore, so that's kind of the point with the Catalyst, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, besides looking actually at, I guess his name was going to be Sha Ming as well, so maybe just looking at some of the different things that, could change as time kind of goes on at least. But looking at least in some like map rumors and kind of looking at the speculations of where kind of people are looking at where the rest of the world is going to start slowly opening up in Tevat. The first area we had seen a little while ago was possibly in 4.4 getting an addition in Chenyu Vale, which I believe was going to be above Chingsa Village and whatnot, and I think that was going to be 4.3 or 4.4. There was a lot of talks, but some recent speculations have been talking about getting an area below Liyue, and that's it's most likely probably going to be in the future. Not really sure when at this point. It would probably make the most sense around 4.6 just because of the jump and interest with Arlecchino and getting that boss fight as well. So, or if that is going to be our boss fight. So that's at least kind of what it looks like. I know something you've been really looking forward to was like an addition to Liyue.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about this, and the sooner the better, because it looks really cool from what we're seeing here. It looks like, several new domains. Just there's a lot of potential here, and it's, again, for those of you who may have missed it, we're talking about like a new region right under where the chasm and like Child's boss fight is, that just south of that area, so kind of northwest to Watatsumi Island. That, like, getting a new area there, I know I used to talk about it with some other friends before, way back, more in like the Inazuman arc, where we would be on Watatsumi or like South Liyue on the Jade Chamber, and just kind of like looking over that region and be like, I wonder what they're gonna do here. I remember us even thinking, oh wow, this might be Fontaine or something like that, or Sumeru, which Sumeru is more the west, but it is gonna be exciting to get just a new area here. It's gonna be, I don't know, I'm just really pumped if you can't tell.
Yeah, I totally am really hyped to really see kind of what is going to change and what they're going to do about that. I know, like, maybe even some underground areas, at least in Liyue, which is pretty cool considering I think the only other underground area in Liyue has been, I guess you could technically count maybe like one or two or three of the bosses, and specifically, obviously, the Chasm, which is kind of its own area, but it's still in Liyue. But besides some map changes, we are looking at the 4.4 banners. Now, we will talk about the 4.3 banners in a little bit, but specifically with 4.4 banners, looking around in that time for the Lantern Rite, usually looking at the end of the year type stuff, at least that they usually do. It seems like it's going to be the first half is going to be Cloud Retainer, which we kind of figured with Xiao. And in the second half, we kind of also had the idea of getting Ganyu and Shenhe together. Now, both of these banners just sound absolutely amazing, especially for people who already have either one or, both of these characters on either side of the banners. Looking at Cloud Retainer and Zhao is really, really good. And then looking at how Ganyu is going to be really, really good, obviously, in and of herself, but having Shenhe as a secondary character to her, you basically have on both sides of the banner one of the best DPSs with one of their personal best supports, at least from what we've seen between Cloud Retainer, and obviously Shenhe has shown herself to be a very good support for Ganyu.
Yeah, totally. Like you just said, amazing characters, both, complementing the other side of their respective banners. But one quick thing about Cloud Retainer, at least in my mind, because I know I don't have Zhao, so the value for having Cloud Retainer on my account obviously lessens a little bit there. But really, honestly, as a fun factor, would really kind of just open up a lot of fun kind of teams to try out, because allowing your characters to do plunging, I can see a lot of people being like, oh, we can do vertical Hu Tao, the joke there with like Zhao being vertical Hu Tao or Hu Tao being horizontal Zhao or whatever. And not just that either. I mean, other characters would be fun to use. Other DPSs that are Claymore, Polearm, or Sword, can be a lot of fun to try out with. So I think that there's definitely a fun factor there. And also just to mention like her skill, kind of having some ease of movement and stuff around the map. And then obviously the Ganyu Shenhe, they're just really good together. And it makes a lot of sense with that Liyue whole arc we're going to be getting with Chen Yuvale.
Looking at this next league, actually looking at possibly a lot of Natlan stuff, a lot of speculation has been going on about obviously, first and foremost, the Archons that are going on. We know Murata, or we've only been really shown that Murata is the quote-unquote only god in Natlan, or the Archon in Natlan. So to see that there possibly is 2 Archons here, that's kind of cool to see, as well as one might be a Catalyst, and the other one could possibly be a Polearm character. Another Polearm character, great, right? And it seems like the Polearm character is actually going to be Murata, at least from what speculations are showing us. Capitano seems to make an appearance here, grabbing and already having the Gnosis, actually. It's kind of funny because the rest of the game we've only ever seen the Harbingers take or, make a trade-off of some sort with a Harbinger, an Archon with a Harbinger to actually get the Gnosis to the Fatui, but it seems like here we're almost coming after the fact. And then after that, Columbina and Arlecchino are supposed to make some appearances here and there, which is actually really, really cool. And it seems like the Pyro Archon that is going to be playable actually has the ability to move through terrains in a special way that maybe is a little bit different than we've seen. I think that's actually really, really cool. I don't know what they could do, but I think anything really, I think a lot of the Archons have always shown to be really, really cool in what they can do in a special kind of way. I know some other characters that people have been talking about, but specifically I think one that pops out to me at least is Alice, being at the end of the Fontaine era or at the beginning of the Natlan era. And it makes a lot of sense because, Alice, if anybody doesn't know, is Klee's mom, if you haven't been doing a lot of the summer events. But it seems to make a lot more sense considering I think that she's probably going to be a Pyro character as well. And I believe, now I could be completely wrong about this, I believe she is at least from that area, so that actually is, or at least she's there right now. And that may just give us more story and maybe even completing this mystery behind who Alice and what she is or who she is, and kind of some background information about her.
Yeah, I definitely am curious about her. I mean, we even saw her a lot actually in the last bit of the Archon quest with, she kind of helped us out with, we met Mona and Fontaine. We kind of learned some things about, the prophecy, yada, yada, yada. But maybe we'll learn more about the Hexen Circle too in Natlan. I mean, we've also seen Skirk and Sertologi mentioned at the very least. So there's definitely something there that hopefully we'll learn about more in Natlan.
Looking at the next part of the leaks, actually, and looking at Cloud Retainer specifically, we were talking about some other characters. Going back to Cloud Retainer, possibly once again coming in 4.4, it seems like her name, I think before people were talking about Liu Yun, whereas now it seems like it's going to be Shen Yun. I think that's a really cool name for her, especially because I think in Chinese it specifically has something to do with clouds and, the calmness of the clouds or whatnot, which I think, Genshin's always done really, really well with almost putting like small hints in almost odd places that you wouldn't expect. So I think this is kind of cool to see her having a different name that has some really cool meaning behind it. Looking further into Cloud Retainer or Shan Yun's kit specifically, we've gotten even more information about it, which there's been changes constantly back and forth on what she does, but it seems like her E is going to release an Animo Field, which we kind of already knew, as it allows her to jump and do plunging attacks, and it can happen up to 3 times and possibly allow her to fly. And then her Q enhances nearby characters' jumping ability and then heals as well, which is also very, very nice, which is why a lot of people were putting her with specifically Zhao, just because he already does that, as well as her passive talent can help plunging attacks as well while they're in the burst field. All of this to just say that it's making her even more useful for Zhao, for instance. So we're not obviously going to know until time gets even closer and we get a full kit from some other sources that are a little bit more perfected on what they actually have, and very, you know, this is like 99% positivity of what's going to be in the game. But, you know, some other things, I think her constellations are going to change her as well.
She definitely looks very versatile. I don't know, you know, obviously, like you were saying, once she actually releases, we'll be able to play around with that and, you know, do all the testing and see what she really can do and how much she benefits the other characters. But, like, I don't know about you, but she seems like a conglomeration of all the kits of, like, maybe all the Animo characters just combined. And you see a lot of, like, the Zhao movements and maybe the skill when she jumps up that she can plunge herself. That just kind of feels like Zhao. And also the fact that she has that aerial maneuver with the skill just kind of feels maybe a little bit like Wanderer. But then she's, like, got that supportive capabilities that just bring up, like, Sucrose, Jean, Kazuha, Venti. I don't know, it just seems very fun. There's a lot going on in her kit, and it just looks very promising.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of what she can bring to the table is going to be very interesting, not only for Zhao, like you said, but some other characters that she can really maybe even help out with. I know specifically you like using Gutao, so maybe even the
Yeah,
vertical,
right.
horizontal versions of themselves, possibly she could be, you know, helping her, just jumping off
Right,
of a
right.
Zhongli pillar. I don't know. So we'll have to see in the
Hey, get that Viridescent swirl too, so.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot to see on actually what she's going to do in the future, and I'm really excited to
Right.
see what her kit looks like and what she can do with other characters. But the last thing we do want to talk about in the Interact post today is going to be talking about the 4.3 banners. Now, we know that this has already come out on the actual game, so you guys can go ahead and look. And by the time this video is out, obviously, we already probably at this point, the banners are already out, but you know, we have Ayaka and Navia already talking about getting Rosaria and Sucrose and Candace. Some okay 4-stars in a lineup, especially for me, you know, getting some constellations wouldn't be bad. The 5-stars on the weapon banner are, like we were talking about in the Topo not Topo, very, very good, but it seems like the 4-stars are a little bit lacking. I think the Flute is there, Dragon's Bane, Favonius Codex, Moan's Moon, and Okumaru. A lot of those are just kind of...
Yeah, I've seen better banners.
Yeah, Fav Codex and Okamoto Flute are just kind of very, 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 very low-end weapons, at least, whereas Dragon Bane has some usability as well as Moan's Moon on specific 4-stars that are a little bit, I believe, Moan's Moon's based on attack percent, so it's probably a lot better for characters like Fischl and whatnot, so.
Exactly, yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I know Dragon's Bane is really good, especially for, like, free-to-play Hu Tao. You could also use it on your Xiangling for the EM. You can't go wrong with that. And also, it's really good for building Burgeon Toma. So you got several options there. Maybe even like Reverse Melt Rosaria, who is on the banner. So there's some things you can do with that, obviously.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the banners that are already going to be probably here by the time this video is out. We hope that you guys have enjoyed the video, and we hope that you guys are going to be here with us next week, as we'll be bringing hopefully some more stuff, maybe even some stuff that is going to be a little bit more relevant towards 4.4, and maybe some more validity behind some Cloud Retainer stuff, maybe even some Natlan stuff. But at least hope you guys have enjoyed the video so far, and besides that, we'll see you in the next one.